So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Albert, CEO of Bitcoin Startup Lab. And before we get started with this wonderful, amazing panel of speakers on the implications of Bitcoin, is it just me, or is this the best event of the entire week, maybe the year? Woo! All right, I'm a little biased because over half the speakers here at the Sora Summit also are my friends. And a little side note, they're also speakers and mentors of the Bitcoin Startup Lab. So I'm a little bit biased, but objectively speaking, Jason and his wonderful team did it. They brought together the most impactful people on Bitcoin in 2023. So let's give him and the team and everyone here a big round of applause. Thank you. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. So I think everyone here on stage, we don't really need to do introductions, right? We know Casey, if we imagine Bitcoin before Ordinals as this massive dam of value that was building, right? Casey put a massive fire hose on it with Ordinals and flew open the valve, and everyone's drinking from this fire hose. Right?
I wish I got to drink a little bit.
Wonderful. So what was your motivation for doing this? Where did inspiration come?
Yeah, so the original motivation was just because I've made a lot of generative digital art in the past, just random stuff. I'm a programmer, little graphics experiments. And I saw NFTs in, I don't know what it was, 2017 or something. And they just weren't super interesting to me. I was like, okay, they're these cool digital collectibles. Later though, I saw art blocks on Ethereum, which is a very popular collection of generative digital art. And I saw that it was, the pieces were fetching extremely high prices. So I thought, okay, it'd be cool if I could sell my own art, which is similar, with similar style, in that market. And so I started looking at Ethereum NFTs, and they were just terrible, all sorts of technical problems. They're off-chain, they're complicated, they're insecure. And I was like, okay, I guess I got to do it on Bitcoin if I want to sell my own art in a way that I feel good about. And simultaneously, I also sort of thought that it would be good for Bitcoin. Increased activity, increased fees, more users. So it's classic programmer shit. I did it because I was like, oh, I'm going to make and sell my own inscriptions. And then I did all this work, and here we are a year and a half later, and I've only made one inscription.
Wonderful. And did that one inscription just have its birthday recently?
Yeah. Yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of the inscription. So,
woo!
Yeah.
This Sora event's very well timed.
Very timely, yeah.
Very timely, very timely. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And so, going with that same imagery, right, of the fire hose, next up on our panel is Domo, right? He decided to, probably didn't know at the time, but put some C4 on the dam.
Domo would really unleash the dam. The Ordinals was the crack, BRC20, holy shit.
Yeah, so same question to you, Domo, but what was your motivation? How did you come up with this idea?
I think many people assumed I've been a CIA operative or whatever, but I think my main motivation at the time was just given what I was doing at the time, which was on-chain data analytics. I created a couple dashboards for Ordinals. I created one for Sats names. In doing so, I really got comfortable with working with Bitcoin data and then parsing these JSON protocols, right? So I think what Ordinals did that was super elegant and I saw from early on was created a canvas, a data availability layer on Bitcoin. And then the other thing, which I think doesn't get appreciated as much as it does, is show that you can use very simple social consensus mechanisms as core functions in a protocol. So those two things really got me thinking and inspired BRC20. And again, when you go back to your question with motivation, really just it was meant to be a fun dashboard at the time, and then I guess we are where we are now, yeah.
Yes, little did we all know, right? Little did we know. Thank you for sharing that, Domo. And next, Danny, you're quite the pioneer. I mean, what prompted you to come to Ordinals so early? I remember you're on the scene as soon as it was announced. So did you know about this before? I mean, you're a serial entrepreneur, leading the charge from Ethereum back to Bitcoin.
Yeah, so I was also inspired by art blocks as kind of on-chain, doing on-chain art, and but art blocks had some issues. So I did my own on-chain art on Ethereum at the time. This was 2021, and then when Ordinals popped up, I was like, oh, as what Domo was saying, there's a canvas. You can actually program this canvas and actually make your on-chain art. in a very nice way, like because the protocol, or the Ordinals protocol itself supports whatever you want to put on that canvas, and you start from there.
Wonderful. Thanks for leading in charge. This is going to be a moment in history, right? You're raising the flag for Ethereum people to come over to Bitcoin. I feel like a lot of them are beginning to lose their religion this year, so to speak. And last but not least, David Bailey, CEO of BTC Inc. and also behind the scenes on UTXO Management Fund, right? As some of you know, or most of you know, they bought Bitcoin Magazine from Vitalik. By the way, did you guys use Bitcoin or cash? Like, hopefully it was cash.
Bitcoin, sadly.
So that was like a very big purchase.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, wonderful. So, actually, with you and Tyler, with your standing in the Bitcoin ecosystem, you guys could have done a much later stage fund, right? But what were your motivations to take the risk with pre-seed? The most, it's the riskiest part in investment. Like, what was your motivation to do that?
Yeah, so first I just want to say it's awesome to be up here with such luminaries. I've really hit the big times on scamming if I've gotten up here, so thank you for the invite. Why pre-seed? So our whole company purpose, the focus, vision is what we call hyper-Bitcoinization. So we want to see Bitcoin become the money of humanity. And so a pre-seed fund, it wasn't really about making money, though fortunately that's also happening. It was really about seeding new ideas. And Bitcoin has been stale for a long time. And inspiration is one of the most powerful weapons that Bitcoin has. And so if you can seed new ideas that inspire other people, there's a multiplication effect. So it just made sense to bring as many ideas as possible to the forefront to see what sticks. And very fortunate to do so because there's a lot of new ideas coming to Bitcoin right now.
Wonderful, and thank you for investing in so many of our top projects. As some of you know, the Bitcoin Startup Lab will help people turn their ideas into investment-ready startups. So thank you for that.
We're the main exit liquidity for the space right now. So if you have something you need to dump, you let us know.
Wonderful. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities moving forward into 2024 here. That's an open invitation, guys. So let's for the context of everyone in this audience, just to get on the same page, let's get into some statistics. Right? Like how big are the markets here? Like, roughly speaking, maybe Ordinals JPEGs is what, 400, 500 million, and if you're talking about BRC20 tokens and the other Bitcoin native asset tokens, it's maybe 3 to 4 billion-ish right now. Right? But let's put this in context. Where were we last year? Right, 2022, I remember we did our first all Bitcoin cohort, and we were able to convince one accelerator to come to our demo day. One accelerator, a Bitcoin Frontier Fund, Trevor and his team, visionary, right? I think there was 8 investors that came to that demo day. Now fast forward to the demo day that's about to happen now. We have 10 accelerators coming, over 60 investors, and over 100 mentors. That shows you how fast the Bitcoin ecosystem has been growing. Right? And it's going to double or triple or even more next year. So, but before we get into that, I think Domo and the rest of you guys must have some statistics, right? In terms of 2023, what were the total mining fees? Let's give everyone.
Yeah, you know me. I know the data is my thing. So yeah, I think roughly like 3,500 Bitcoin in miner fees for inscriptions, about 150 million US at current prices, and then I think that we're around about 50 million inscriptions, which I think also comprises about 5% of Bitcoin transactions ever, which really puts into context, right? So.
And then also that sum of mining fees is only for reveal transactions, right? So there's also the commit transaction and then there's subsequent transfers. So I don't know if it's double that, but it could be easily be double that or triple that with all the cumulative fees. So it's gobsmacking.
How many Ordinal users do you think there are right now?
Yeah, so my dashboard is secondary trades only, so it's only market participants, but I think last time I checked it was around 300,000. Yeah.
Wow, 300,000, creating 3,500 Bitcoin transactions.
I think
this is a transaction fee, right?
Yeah.
Not the value of the
Yeah.
Ordinals and BRC20.
And I think there's about 300 people trading NFTs on Ethereum right now, so 1,000x is not too bad, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so, and what percentage are the ordinals, all the ordinal transaction fees compared to all the Bitcoin transaction fees right now? Do you have that statistic?
I don't know about fees, but I think roughly 40 to 50% of transactions since March or February have been Ordinals transactions.
Wow, so it's already rivaling the mining fees, the mining yield there. So growing at this speed, what percentage will it be 1 year from now? Like best guess, guys, best guess.
100%.
Wonderful.
Yeah, laser-eyed Maxie's seething and coping.
Wonderful. All right. So with that said, let's move the topic to ordinals JPEGs, and then let's after that let's follow it on with Bitcoin native assets like BRC20, runes, etc. And then I'd like to sort of ask you guys some questions, project in the future. How fast is this going to fill up the transaction fees, right? And will that bring in a new era of L2s never seen before on Ethereum, right? So let's start with ordinal JPEGs. What are some of the most exciting things that you guys saw this year?
I mean, I guess just the rise of generative art. I like things that are wacky and things that are weird. So, I mean, the most exciting things for me, like art-wise, are just these like random things that you like see in the mempool. You go to the front page, somebody made some weird thing, and you click on it and it buzzes, and it has weird like generative art. I love that stuff. I think the most exciting things for me is the tooling. You know, the rise of PSBT-based transfers, more intelligent wallets. The mempool, the PvP mempool, I think is insane, right? You see these like people buying transactions, like filling PSBTs, and then somebody made a dashboard where you can actually watch these things in the mempool, and then you can click on them to snipe them. You can't take them from somebody, but you can pay a higher fee and get the inscription. So that stuff is wacky, and I enjoy seeing it.
That's exciting, exciting. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think I like the art projects that wouldn't be possible in other chains, so really leaning into what's unique about inscriptions in Bitcoin. A friend's project of mine, BitBars, does this. So each inscription is a gold bar image, but it's exactly 1 kilobyte or 2 kilobytes or 256 kilobytes of data, right? And it's leaning into just unique things that you couldn't necessarily do on other chains. And then obviously recursion as well. I really like recursion and some interesting things you can do with that, yeah.
Let me double click on that, right? So you made a comparison to Ethereum. Last year, we didn't have any mentors from Ethereum, right? But this year, we have like 25% that came from Ethereum, right? Why do you think they're coming over? Like, what do you see the difference between, say, Ethereum NFT and Ordinals, an Ordinal? What do you guys think is like the compelling factor here?
I mean, Ethereum is a pointer to an off-chain image, right? So I think the permanence and durability is really attractive. Moreover, that yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me.
Okay. Thank you. And then David, I think you want to say something. We'll wrap it up.
Yeah, it's on Bitcoin. I mean, these other chains only exist because they're byproducts of people not being able to do it on Bitcoin. That's their sole purpose. So the fact that you can now do it natively on Bitcoin, that's dope. That's all the reason people need. We haven't done a lot with inscriptions generally. We've done a couple things. Probably the thing I'm most proud of is we have the biggest block ever. We inscribed, and we did the first magazine reveal ever via an inscription. So the gatekeeper issue of Bitcoin Magazine with Julian Assange, 4 megabyte block, pretty dope, and I feel like that's something that, for as long as Bitcoin exists, which will be a very, very long time, people will look back and, see a snapshot of history. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was history in making. And Danny?
Yeah, it's also an evolution. So, people learned about, basically, JPEGs and NFTs and how to do on-chain NFTs on Ethereum first, right? How to do that generative art. And then when Ordinals came, there was a small group of people who knew something about how that worked. So then they started experimenting on basically Bitcoin and the medium of Bitcoin, using Ordinals and inscription. And this year was really cool because at the start, actually it was just JPEGs, right? People weren't thinking about more advanced things. Well, it happened very quickly. Like the first week or two was just JPEGs. But then people said, hey, this is this canvas. You could do something else. How about, let's do a JavaScript thing, or let's do something else. And then recursive encryption came where you can do more complex things. And then what else can you do? What about SAT endpoints? What could you do with that? And it's been kind of a discovery, right, for creators to really advance, creators who had some idea of how to do on-chain art from Ethereum and other chains, now really exploring what you could do with Bitcoin, and then do things that are more native to Bitcoin, with the, SAT numbering and the rare SAT, and and there's still more stuff to be learned, right? And also as fees go up, people will learn, well, how can you do something in, 2 kilobytes or 1 kilobyte, because, it's going to be so expensive. And so that art that Domo mentioned of, the 256 kilobyte, bar of gold, right? That's going to be really hard to do in the future. So it's actually pretty cool, Bitcoin art too. And it's also kind of historic because like this was created, let's say, in March or a few months ago when fees were lower. You can see that, like this was 256 kilobyte, artwork that paid this much Bitcoin, and all that is on chain and part of kind of the art and using the medium of Bitcoin as art.
Can I just pick up on something that Danny just said? And I think you asked earlier, Danny, why were you so early to this? This is like a bit of a joking meme, but it's serious. Like when Ethereum first got started, people who have been in Bitcoin a long time remember it was always framed as this is a test net for Bitcoin. Like this is where we can experiment and take the best ideas and bring them back to Bitcoin. So it makes sense for a Bitcoin OG to, be the early person to bring it back to Bitcoin because that was the original vision, and just it grew so much that people coming in lost track of that somewhere along the way. But I think the first indicator to us that this was something that had staying power is like the first adopters were the OGs in Bitcoin. That's the original ethos of I think how all of this began.
That's a really great point. And a lot of the first builders coming through our program are really like Danny, right? Started on Bitcoin, couldn't build anything on it, went to Ethereum, and now there's programs on Bitcoin and everyone's coming back, right? So on that point, Danny, because your 10K collection, you guys just migrated to Bitcoin recently, right? It was on Ethereum, and so I'm sure you made a lot of other Ethereum friends there. How many of them over the course of this year have, hey, Danny, what's going on in Bitcoin? Like, can you give us like a snapshot of that?
Totally. So the Teleburn function is awesome. So thanks for adding that. And also putting it on the Ordinals.com page.
It took a long time, but it's there now.
Yeah, that's so Teleburn, if you don't know, is the idea of for your inscription, you have an Ethereum address for that inscription that's derived from that inscription ID. And because it's derived, no one has the private key for that. And you can basically send any Ethereum asset to that address, and that's the Teleburn. And you could actually do many kind of interesting things with it. And so we have a Ethereum collection. And so the original are other people asking us about this. And yes, there are other creators saying, oh, how do we go about doing a Teleburn to migrate over? And but that migration, you basically lose your ability to trade the asset on Ethereum, but you gain something on Bitcoin potentially. Well, assuming that that inscription is something they're going to also handle. I think right now there's an issue with there's some centralization involved when you want to do these teleburns. So the doing bridging between Ethereum and Bitcoin is very challenging. But ignoring that, this teleburn is a very cool feature, but it means you're giving up something. So for us, when we ask our community, when we offer this to our community, it's not forced. They have the option to do this, right? It's actually a big step. And I think we might have contributed to the most valued teleburn to Ordinals because we had so far about $10 million worth of assets, teleburn from Ethereum to Bitcoin. And it's actually an experience for the people doing it because they have something that's quite liquid on Ethereum they could sell, going to a less liquid for now protocol that also they may not know too much about. A lot of our community was they got into crypto because of NFTs on Ethereum. So they actually they spent this year learning about Bitcoin and learning about UTXOs and all and inscriptions are also new to Bitcoin. So learning all this new stuff. So it is a bit scary to do this process, but we we basically held their hand, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Ordinals made Bitcoin fun and sexy again to build on, right? Yeah, absolutely. So I'm thinking with BRC20, Tap, Pipe, and now soon to be Runes, right? So many transactions are coming to Bitcoin. What do you guys see for the future? I mean, at this growth rate, how will the transaction fees on Bitcoin proliferate? And at what point, I mean, because we know, like, let me give you some background for this. On Ethereum kept on making upgrades, right? So L1 versus their L2s is almost, sometimes the value is blurred, right? But on Bitcoin, we know the upgrades happen a lot slower, but with the trajectory of these Bitcoin assets going through the roof, exponential, when do you guys see L2s come into play? Will this be important next year?
I mean, yeah, so Bitcoin already has the Lightning Network. The Lightning Network is a network of payment channels. You lock up a Bitcoin into these payment channels, and then you can route payments through these payment channels. And yeah, I expect this is really a stress test for Lightning, right? People have had Lightning for a while, but if the base chain fees are low, and they have been low for a very long time, there kind of is no reason to use Lightning. I mean, yeah, you can make micropayments, you can have faster payment confirmations, but the real reason is to save on fees. And Bitcoin fees have been insane. I think I looked a couple days ago or yesterday, fees were 300 sats per VByte, which is bonkers, right? Like a year ago, fees were regularly 1 sat per VByte. So they're 300x the fees. So I think it's going to be a make it or break it moment for Bitcoin L2s. And Lightning isn't the only game in town. For example, there's also Fediment and Cashew. These are both Chaumian mints, which are essentially like banks where you hold tokens issued by the bank, but the bank doesn't know anything about its customers. And so the bank is sort of this thing, it can send and receive payments on behalf of its customers, but the customers have very good privacy. I'm very hopeful that Lightning will wind up being a very useful L2, and Cashew and Fediment will be a good sort of trade-off between running your own Lightning node and using a fully custodial service. So I think the future is bright.
Thank you, that's very insightful. So last year 1 to now 300. Right, best guess next year, this time? Transaction fees at L1, best guess?
Higher.
Higher. 2x, 5x?
I think we'll see 100 sats per VByte. I think it's going to be a bloody mess.
Wow.
Yeah, I think if you look at the way things are going with the popular rise of these fungibles on Bitcoin, I think the fee appetite for fungibles is much higher than that of non-fungibles. I think when I checked earlier this year, it was like 75 cents a kilobyte for fungibles, and then maybe 15 cents a kilobyte for non-fungibles. And as we're seeing these become more and more popular, I think that fee appetite will continue to increase. So I personally don't know which standards will be adopted, which L2s will be adopted, but I'm pretty sure that fees are going to be much higher in the next year.
Thank you for that. What do you think, David?
So I think the right comp is to look at Ethereum. And Bitcoin's blocks are less frequent, more constrained, and so I think in the height of speculative activity, you're looking at $300 transaction fees on ETH, and I think that's $300, $500 transaction on Bitcoin is possible. The system is dynamic though, so first off, as the fees go up, it's going to change a bunch of stuff. Okay, this is a new paradigm for Bitcoin, actually high fees. So first off, as the fees go up, it's going to incentivize a lot more efficient on-chain activity because it's just going to be a necessity to do so. Second off, just like with Ethereum, as the fees go up, it's going to push people into other layer 2 ecosystems or other meta protocols that are less expensive to use. So when ETH got expensive, you saw people start using Solana. Okay, well, if I agree, fungible tokens, they have a high threshold for how much fees that they can pay. But if people start paying $500 for a transaction, they're going to be looking for cheaper fungible token solutions on top of Bitcoin. So it's going to have a natural dynamic of pushing people into other ecosystems. In terms of the number of layer 2 solutions coming, I think that there are going to be hundreds of layer 2s. If the price of a Bitcoin transaction is $100, then in the course of a year, you're talking about tens of billions of dollars in fees paid. So if you can bring a layer 2 solution to market that, let's say gets 10% market share and can alleviate that amount of fee pressure, that's $2 billion a year that you're saving. Okay, that's like the income of a Fortune 500 company. So you're talking about a massive economic incentive for efficiency. I think you're gonna see layer 2 development start, like right now it's been all like fucking academics and blog posts and
nerds.
Ideology. It needs to look more like Bitcoin mining, where it is an absolute cutthroat, like no holds bars fight to win. So I think that's the level of competition that's coming. I think there's going to be many, many layer 2s that can compete. We've already invested into multiple ones, and I think there's a lot more coming. Then I think that the next important thing that you got to kind of factor in is like Bitcoin has been slow to upgrade because there hasn't been a real sense of urgency. It has been a theoretical debate about do we need this BIP or that BIP or whatever. When the price of a transaction is $500 to send, the outcry from users will be so immense that it is going to completely change the development culture that exists in Bitcoin. You're already seeing it. You're already seeing more people say, hey, CTV, there's some scaling benefits here, it's gonna make Lightning better. We need to have CTV be activated. Okay, that's at $20 transaction fees. Like 10x that. Like it's just going to be like there's going to be a practical urgency. And so I think once the first BIP is activated, which I think will happen next year, personally, once the first BIP gets activated, and it happens, let's say, despite a certain faction of developers not liking it, I think it's going to pave a path for future BIPs. And so I don't know how the ecosystem is going to change, but that's not a bug, that's a feature. Like there needs to be a give and take pressure between the users and the developers. And the users don't fucking care when the transactions are free. They care when it gets expensive. So that's going to have a natural effect on changing on-chain layer 1 scalability, which then will affect the layer 2s and the urgency about developing different parts of the layer 2. So it's a very complex system with a lot of incentivization mechanisms at play. That's a long-winded answer, but I think it's a complex question.
No, thank you. That was very insightful. Actually, that was the kind of answer I was looking for, right? And there's so many different factors at play. If this year was age of the meme token on Bitcoin, next year is probably the age of the utility token on Bitcoin with most likely L2s, right? And like you said, there's hundreds of players that are going to be coming into the market.
Can I just speak real quick to how early that we are in this process? If you take institutional funds, I don't know how many are there any crypto VC funds here? Everybody, raise your hand. No one's raising their hand. Okay, good. We only like Bitcoin in this room, so. But if you poll crypto VCs, I think maybe 0.1% of AUM is allocated currently to Bitcoin native assets. Okay, the whole business case for a crypto VC is 100x investments. That's it. That's the only thing that's product market fit in crypto. We invest in these tokens, we 100x, we pay out investors, okay? When the 100x's start happening on Bitcoin, these firms have no choice but to allocate to Bitcoin. Okay, when we start seeing firms go from a 0.1% AUM allocation to Bitcoin native assets to a 5% allocation or a 10% allocation, the amount of money flowing into these assets is going to balloon. The amount of projects coming from the crypto ecosystem and trying to port over to the Bitcoin ecosystem is going to balloon. We're not talking about hundreds of projects, we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of projects. So, you could take Andreessen Horowitz. I was talking to an LP of theirs earlier today. Their latest fund has $3 billion in it. Okay, what's their allocation of Bitcoin native assets? 0, okay? If they want to have a 10% allocation, that's $300 million that they're going to deploy into Bitcoin native assets. The biggest Bitcoin venture fund that exists in the market deployed $100 million. So just one crypto VC fund deploying a minority stake of their assets into Bitcoin native assets, which honestly they should have a majority of their assets into Bitcoin native assets,
Agreed.
is going to be several times bigger than the biggest venture fund that exists in Bitcoin. So this is going to be culturally shifting. You're talking about billions of dollars of capital inflow, funding hundreds to thousands of different teams that are coming from a completely different cultural development ethos. It's going to be a tidal wave. So I don't feel like anybody's prepared for it. I don't think anybody up here is really even prepared for it.
On that note, best guess, 1 year from now, guys, how many X is this Bitcoin native asset market going to grow? Again, it's maybe around 3 billion-ish, 4 billion-ish right now?
I'm just a nerd. I have no idea.
All good. Let's best guess, guys. Casey's
$1 trillion. Let's fucking go.
let's go. 1 trillion.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably right. Like the right comp is ETH to ERC20 tokens. That's the comp. Okay, ETH is a $250 billion market cap. ERC20 tokens combined, $250 billion market cap. So basically, they match 1-to-1. Bitcoin's an $800 billion market cap right now. So if things were static and sitting in place, you'd say 800 billion is the right comp. But Bitcoin's going up. And as actually Bitcoin native assets are issued, it will actually accelerate the price of Bitcoin going up, just like it did happen on Ethereum. So if Bitcoin is going to a $3 trillion market cap or $4 trillion market cap in this next cycle, which I think it is, but who am I to say? Then I think $1 trillion asset category for Bitcoin native assets is bearish. So let's go.
Yeah, I think that is quite bearish, right? When Ethereum had this little activity, like on Bitcoin right now, the price was what, like $20 Ethereum, right? And so there's like a 100x to grow on Bitcoin, like minimum, right?
Minimum.
Minimum. Yeah. What do you guys think, Domo, Danny?
So, I mean, I think the comparison to Ethereum, looking at Ethereum, it makes a lot of sense. And also on Ethereum, it's ERC20 that really was the main use case for Ethereum, and it came first. And then after that, it was ERC 721, non-fungible. So it's basically fungible is the ETH, and it's a much larger market cap than non-fungible. So I think also, even though Ordinals and inscriptions came first as a non-fungible token standard on Bitcoin, it's really the fungibles that's leading the way and growing this new market. And then the non-fungibles will also grow and have probably similar percentages in terms of market cap of relative to Bitcoin as on Ethereum, with the ERC 721 relative to Ethereum market cap.
Wonderful.
And also, I think the impact on Bitcoin's price is going to be massive, because you look at all of these people who want to transact and want to pay fees, right? They expect to make money on these tokens and on these protocols, and so they're willing to pay very high Bitcoin transaction fees. And that means that there's an enormous demand for Bitcoin to pay those transaction fees. It gives Bitcoin itself utility, and that should translate to massive price increases for Bitcoin.
No, it's the best casino in all of crypto, and the only poker chips we accept are sats.
I want to try to figure out how to describe the best casino kind of aspect. I think of it as sort of like this interdimensional casino, like out there in space, and it's just the best, craziest thing you could possibly imagine. Just massive degeneracy coming together on an incredible scale.
Oh, I feel like the other chains, it's the depressing casino. It's okay, we have the shitty, it's the one that no one's gone to in 20
Some buffet, but it's disgusting.
Yeah, the disgusting buffet, the jackpots suck, the house odds are against you. This is the hottest casino in the market. The party is fantastic. The party's just getting fucking started.
The vibes are immaculate.
The vibes are immaculate. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like, one warning I would give to the people in the audience that are listening, if you're into crypto, is where is the liquidity going to come from to take these assets to a multi-trillion-dollar asset category? It's coming from crypto. We're sucking the liquidity out of the crypto ecosystem. Yeah, that's your bags.
I drink your milkshake.
So you need to wake up to this, because there's an existential crisis brewing for the other casinos that now fucking suck.
You can't get rugged on Bitcoin either, right?
Yeah,
You can definitely get rugged on Bitcoin.
No, with fungibles in Bitcoin right now.
Yeah.
There's no liquidity pool, pulling, whatever. But as for my prediction of where it's going, I think feeding onto it, like the two killer use cases of crypto that's been established are casino and stable coins, and they're both coming to Bitcoin, I think, in the next year or so. So I think what the rest of the panel has said in terms of X's, I'd probably align my expectations in a similar realm, yeah.
So yeah, let's run with this casino idea, right? So right now, 2023, the casino chips were meme tokens, basically, right? And ordinal JPEGs. Now, with the advent of runes, with the advent of L2s, smart contracts, next year, what do you guys think? Like, would you say if 2023 was the age of the meme token on Bitcoin, 2024 is the age of the utility token on Bitcoin?
So I probably wouldn't. I mean, I think that the thing that has product market fit in crypto is meme tokens. And yeah, I guess they're utility tokens, but like they don't really do anything, they don't really work. And so I really hope that the crypto industry embraces being a gambling and entertainment industry. And let's drop this pretense of like the future of finance or like the future of like science or whatever. Let's just be real, all right? It's the intergalactic fucking casino / circus, right? Let's get this party started and let's be honest about it.
100%. 100%. And I mean, you know, even the utility tokens, okay, like, okay, you take one meme token and you leverage it against another meme token, and then you can like, you know, lock that meme token in another meme token. But, you know, the utility token itself is just a meme. So, you know, the great thing about meme tokens is that there's an honesty to them. You know, Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, Tininu, you know, no one's buying that because they think it's the future of finance. Yet, the gains are just as good as whatever utility token you can go and dream up. So you don't need the utility token to pop. In fact, almost the better the meme, like the more degenerate the meme, the less VCs there are in it, the more of the people it is. So it's like, okay, people want a casino where the odds are not stacked against them. You know, doing these pre-seed rounds where the tokens are bought up by VCs, then you're the exit liquidity, like that's a casino you just walk into and you walk out fucking broke. You know, at least like, have the games be fair. I think the fair mints on Bitcoin was actually like a thing that made the casino way better, the free mints. So, you know, we should be thinking about it from a design perspective of like, what's the most entertaining experience for users? That's what they want.
Domo, Danny, do you guys have a different opinion, or are you going to double down on what Casey and David just said?
Well, I think there are also the people who think, you know, crypto, and well, crypto is, it's a powerful tool, right? And depending on how you design it, you know, it can be basically the same tool that, you know, the current world runs on, and, you know, there's no benefit. But there is a hope if you can design something that, you know, with incentive, that you could actually make a, you know, positive impact. And, you know, that is the hope, and that's what people are still working on and trying to get at. But obviously it's very hard to, you know, design governors or design, you know, actually that utility token. So, but I think it's worth still trying. But obviously, you know, there's clear product market fit for the meme coin. So yeah, we're going to see that.
You know,
What about Domo?
Yeah.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think David saying the honesty thing I really resonate with. I think there's certain aspects. Utility is one, NFTs is another. I think a lot of these fields need to be a bit more honest with themselves in terms of where that value is coming from. I think there's a lot of time people are saying is this or that or this, but I think it's very often driven by speculation and memes at the root of it. So I think if we were all more honest about ourselves, we'd move in a positive direction.
Okay.
now I do want to just say like there is a future where these things can become more useful. Like there is a future where the SEC doesn't exist, where a company can issue a token and it's just a straight up security. Like stock's a thing. Everyone in here has like a 401k, you have equities, like they're valuable things. And there will come a day and age where we don't have a central administrator that's determining what is and isn't legal to do. That day is not today though. So as long as like there is a, you know, to create a real company that has to have a physical location somewhere, the government can show up and arrest you, it's going to be like tough to have a like vibrant capital markets built on top of tokens. But when the day comes that like Bitcoin is our money and the SEC is no longer, you know, setting the rules, like, there's a beautiful future where companies around the world, no matter what geography you're in, no matter what nation you're in, no matter if you're in, you know, the Western world or, you know, a developing nation, can issue a security, raise money in Bitcoin from people around the world and completely run your business anywhere with the same tools that someone, you know, previously had to be on Wall Street for. So that is a beautiful vision that's aligned with hyper-Bitcoinization, but like that is not what we're doing today. Right now we're gambling on meme coins, and we should just be straight up about that. So
Yes, yes. And it looks like we're up on time. Thank you so much, guys, for the insightful facts on what's going on in Bitcoin. And by the way, guys, speaking of meme coins, yes, the Bitcoin Startup Lab, we're dropping a meme coin with some community utility, and hopefully we can activate some utility on Bison Labs, which is the first working ZK realm without a Bitcoin software. Thanks to also Ordinals technology, and we're going to try to spearhead the utility on Bitcoin meme tokens next year. All right, thank you guys.
Thanks so much.
we'll teach it.